Right now, this time I'm just traveling with just a backpack.
Have now been away from home for over a year.
I think there was a time when it was a lot more of maybe more adventurous.
I've been away from home for a while.
That's a big problem in travelling groups like this, is that some people only speak to other travellers.
Definitely backpacking is what's going on right now. Yeah, that's what I would say I'm doing. There are different ways of traveling, such as backpacking like I'm currently doing, which is, in my opinion, more less like resorts generally. You are kind of going off the beaten track, like where we currently are. There's not much of a resort feel here. There's little bungalows where you can keep to yourself, and then there's communal area, but other than that, it's more just people that want to stay off the beaten track and not be bothered by cars and all the regular amenities of life. Kind of just get more simplistic. And then there's when you travel, and generally people that are coming here don't have like a wheelie suitcase, a suitcase on wheels. They generally have backpacks, as opposed to if you're going to the resort on Koh Samui, which is a richer island. Everything's more expensive there. There's more resorts. Most of those people might have a wheelie backpack, a wheelie bag, coming right off the plane, going to their resort. This might be more adventurous, kind of. Maybe a little more people that would climb the mountain behind us or something like that. And I think that's what backpacking kind of is, as opposed to maybe the sightseeing's different, off the beaten track kind of stuff, as opposed to when you are just taking a plane everywhere, or you have 2 weeks. Backpacking usually lasts a little bit longer, like a few months or something.
Yeah, so I'm living out of my backpack now, and I've done it before. It's so mainstream now. It's tough to really define. You kind of think of it as a certain type of person, I guess, and a certain type of travel, but it's really come down to like long-term, not even long-term really, just anyone who's traveling out of their backpack.
For me, the only difference is money, I suppose, and the length of time that the tourist is. The tourist, I'd say, is on holiday for 1 to 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at the most, and the backpacker, and they normally have a suitcase and not normally used to kind of roughing it situations, and backpackers are a bit more rough and ready and stick on their rucksacks and kind of try and budget their trip a little bit more so that they can last longer in foreign countries.
Whereas now you've got the holiday backpackers, 3 weeks backpacking, and is that the same thing as doing it for 3 years? I don't know. I think it all depends on what you come for, kind of thing. Like, so many foreigners now just come to these places because it's cheap, and hey, I'm gonna get drunk on the beach, woo! I'm gonna get drunk in a different nightclub in a different city in a different country and say that I've experienced a different culture, and I don't know, and you ask them what they see, and oh well, don't I really?
For the most part, the tourist is really just going away for a vacation, I guess, and it just, a lot of the times, or maybe it's just perception, but a lot of times the tourist is, just going for vacation and seeing the sights, where the backpackers will get more into maybe getting off the beaten path and exploring the cultures where they're traveling, and meeting the locals, stuff like that. But everyone's different too, so there's some tourists that will do that a little bit, and there's some backpackers who just want to go to Koh San Road and Hat Rin and back again. So.
And kind of plonking yourself down, drinking beers and talking to other travellers. I think that's a big problem in travelling groups like this, is that some people only speak to other travellers. and then they will go home and say, I've been to Thailand. And it's like, you haven't really been to Thailand, you've been to a beach in Thailand, but you didn't really experience as much of Thailand as you could by kind of throwing yourself into this situation where you're living on a family's floor, you're eating the food that that family eats, and you're learning about the work that that family does to live and survive in the country. So I think that's good to do, to actually put yourself in that situation.
There was a story, this girl here was saying that every once in a while she'll just check into the Hilton to get a little rest from it all and a little bit of luxury for a few days. So it can be anything, I guess, as long as you got a bag on your back.
Definitely backpacking is what's going on right now. Definitely backpacking is what's going on right now.
So many foreigners now just come to these places.
Travel mostly to escape, to get away.
We get drunk on the beach.
Travel mostly to escape, to get away. To escape, to get away. To escape, to get away. To escape, to escape, to escape.
A country like this, 50 years ago, wasn't prospering as well as the West. So now you have to be really grateful that they have got the money now to develop the places.
Well, in my opinion, and that's all it is Thailand revolves around tourism as a money-making entity. So they need tourism in the sense of making money for the country, and then it becoming more developed in the sense of modernized schools, education, healthcare, better hospitals.
What good are we doing for them? What do we give back to them? And we turn it into big buildings on beaches and
Bad habits.
yeah, I don't know. I hate it, but it's
It's good and it's bad. I know we've, been civilized for how many years, living in houses and things, but we come to all these, raw places where they, are nomads, go from here to there, and then we make them, settle down and live a Western way, which is, sometimes good for them, sometimes not.
Oh, it's not. We're just presuming everyone should live like we do.
For the tourism, I think it's positive for the country, but it is, I think, westernizing an Eastern country, which, is good and bad in ways, but I think it's, if you're trying to keep the heritage of this country pure and, Eastern, it's hard, because if you have so many Westerns influencing what's going on here, life is going to change in general.